That's why I put my book together, because I think people need to get back in touch with what they value. Stop worrying about the negativity in the world unless you really want to actively change things. I think one of the biggest ways is to be a happy person and spread that kindness, be good to people, help them however you can. And, we can't function like that if we're a mess and we're drained and we're not even taking care of ourselves.
Welcome to the Going North podcast, where you will be informed, encouraged, and empowered to embrace your dreams and advance in life through authorship. I'm your host, best-selling author of the book Stay the Course, and certified leadership trainer, Dom Brightman. Be sure to check out the goods and services from every guest, as well as the host himself, yours truly. Now let the fun begin. Today's episode is sponsored by the Going North Podcast.com shop. Head over to that wonderful website to pick up some merchandise. We got shirts, hoodies, mugs, t-shirts, flags, notebooks, journals, just about almost everything under the sun, even stickers and buttons indeed for your lanyards and for your decorations as well. And we got multiple designs, advance others to advance yourself. We got the GoingNorthPodcast.com logo as well as outread your competition to outlead your competition. And we even got bags too, so check out the wonderful podcast merch shop and be on the lookout for sales. They got wonderful 35% off sales spread out throughout every single month, so that way you can save even more money, so you can get more bang for your buck, so you can bang out your goals through the inspiration you're going to get today on this podcast. Check it out like a library book, my friends. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the great, glorious, and glamorous, might as well add gorgeous to that too, because today's guest fits all four, courtesy of Podmatch.com, where podcast hosts get to meet with podcast guests, and podcast guests get to reach out to podcast hosts and see if they qualify to be on the show. And today is another one of those humans, because today's guest in particular, she's a fellow bookcaster, y'all. She's a bookcaster because she hosts her own podcast and has a book as well that she's published. So she has joined the business of immortality by putting pen to paper and hitting the publish button, because she is a wonderful mother, a wife, as well as a nationally syndicated writer indeed, who has been all over the freaking internet globe on U.S. News, Entrepreneur Magazine, the Oprah Magazine, MSN, back when that was still MSN, as well as Clark Howard and Money, just to name a few. So let's give it up for Miss KC herself, the kind and celestial Karen Cordaway. How you doing today, Karen?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for that intro. I'm like, wow, that's me. I forget all those great things that I did, and it's nice for you to highlight those again.
That's right, indeed. And the good thing about highlights, they only cover like maybe 0.5%, and I probably forgot the other 99.5% of what you do. So my feeling is in on your backstory of who is the wonderful Special K yourself, since it's your first time here on the Going North podcast.
Right. Well, as you stated, I like to write, and I reside in Connecticut, and I like to do a lot of hobbies. I really live my bucket list, but I also mentioned that I make some mean breaded chicken in the air fryer. Okay. So,
Sweet.
if your audience appreciates that, we got to find ways to have something good, and so we can be on the go and go travel and do fun things.
Oh yeah, that's right, the fun on the bun. And funny enough, I believe you're probably the second or third ELL teacher, or at least who's been one in the past on this podcast.
Wow. I didn't realize that you knew that about me, or that I revealed that, but yes. Yes. I did teach English to people whose native language was not English, and it was a great experience. If you want me to get into my story and why I'm here, I kind of fell into this idea of really going full blast with a bucket list because I had a real rough point in my life where I lost my mom, who was like my best friend. And it was right when I had my first child. And I felt like my life was just starting and coming together in so many ways. And it was very devastating for me to have that happen. And it took me a very long time to get over it and to feel um, like I was myself again and that I could have energy and really live more fully. And, you realize you have to live without people. It's not easy. But part of it was I just started to map out things that were going to make me happy, things I always wanted to do. It's cliche, but when you lose someone, my mom was 60, and when you lose someone early, you realize that life is short. So I kind of fell into it for a sad reason, but it eventually helped get me back on track. And so now I just feel like it's my mission to help people enjoy themselves in everyday life, because every day can be beautiful on some level and we can incorporate things that make us happy. And I'm all about doing that.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about, making them folks happy. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So sorry for the loss of your mom. That's definitely rough indeed when you lose a parent. Definitely can attest to that indeed. It's definitely rough. Definitely rough.
Right, right. So, like I said, I'm full of ideas. And if you'd like me to give some of those away to your wonderful audience, I really love researching and I really love coming up with unique things to do, because so many times people think a bucket list is only about travel and going very far away. And sometimes that's out of reach. It's not that we don't want to have big dreams or ever do those things. We absolutely do. But I like to add another layer to help people find things that are local or more within reach, and they're equally as exciting in my opinion. And to kind of define things for yourself that make you happy, and not just to chase things that other people are doing because it's popular.
Shoot, amen to that. Well, go on ahead and share some ideas because I hear you don't have to waste the whole bucket or spend the whole bucket with your bucket list creation ideas.
Right. Well, I know that on your podcast you like to advance others, which always helps yourself. Whenever you're helping people, whether you realize it or not, at least from my experience, it just gives you that really good feeling. And one thing I found, and this might not sound like the first thing that you mentioned because you're like, hey, what do I get to do? But one thing you could do is volunteer. There's something called volunteermatch.org. And before you think like, oh, I don't have time, that's a big commitment, everything like that, there are things you could do virtually. So if you don't want to be in person, or, you know, uh, you don't have as much time to volunteer maybe the way other people do, you can do things like tutor, or there's ways that you can do like behind the scenes stuff, or you can connect with like seniors and talk to them on the phone just to check in on them. And there are so many other opportunities. And if you do want to be in person, you can help out a cat rescue. There are places that have like therapeutic horseback riding. And it could be something simple too, like a walkathon. There are so many opportunities on volunteermatch.org. You'd be surprised, whether it's animals, human rights, arts and culture. You can really enrich your life, and you're also enriching someone else's life. And, uh, you can put that together, put your interests together with the volunteering. So it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. So that's my first idea. And my other idea, to have more of like, okay, I just want to go out and have fun. I already do stuff for people, or I already feel like I'm worn down, or I need to rejuvenate. I always say to try to infuse comedy into your life on some level. I really like going to see the comedians live, and it could be something as simple as going to a small local comedy club, because then you're supporting people who are newer, and you're not traveling far, it doesn't cost a lot of money, and you can really start to see people who are up and coming, and then you could be like, hey, guess who I saw? I saw him before he was this big thing, or I saw her at this small place. And you get to be a part of their journey, and you get to have a lot of fun and laugh. And I've been a little bit on a tear where I want to see every comedian out there that I've always wanted to see. I was fortunate to see Chris Rock. I'm going to see his brother. That's coming up soon. I recently saw Brian Simpson. Now, I just want to say, obviously, humor is different for people. Some people think things are offensive. Some people only like clean comedians. I'll give you a list of some of those too. So they can be very reasonably priced. And another popular comedian is Sebastian Maniscalco. And most of his tickets are at least $200. Like when you get those bigger names, it is more costly. But what you can do, this is my super secret tip. If you're okay with where you sit and whether you want to go alone, even if you're with someone, I don't know if I could tell you this, Tom, because you might make fun of me. But my
Okay.
husband and I, we got tickets and we were just split. Like he was in the row in front of me and I was in the row behind. We were still in close proximity, but I wanted to see this guy so badly. And I wanted to see so many other people. I'm like, I have to make this affordable. So I got tickets that were very reasonable. I want to say they were like $50 or $60 for this type of comedian. That's like a steal. So that's my little secret tip. You don't have to tell everybody. You could just be like, yeah, I saw him. You don't have to, reveal all that. But I like to tell people that because there are ways to do things. We always like say, oh, I can't go to that. These tickets are too much, or I can't do this, that. There's always some way that you can make it affordable for yourself if you're a little bit creative. And that's not something I do regularly, but I really wanted to see the person. And I have kids. I have one in college, so I need to be responsible here. And you know, but if you want to see some other cleaner comedians, there's Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan, and obviously we always want to support women as well. Amy Schumer, Sarah Silverman, Margaret Cho. I just try to see such a variety because you just never know what angle someone's going to take, or they open up your mind in a different way. So that's my big thing, because I don't see how that can't make you happier unless you pick the wrong comedian. So that is what's dominating my bucket list currently. But there's also other things you can do, something very simple, like a restaurant bucket list. And it could be something like going to see all the different diners in a certain area. I'm on the East Coast, so that's like a big thing. You can follow like some of the celebrity chefs who have restaurants all over the place. Some of them are very pricey, but then you have others who are more affordable. A lot of them have recommendations in different areas in the US. And, if you're fortunate to go to other countries, some of these people have places all over the world. And whether you're chasing down, the best pizza, or you want some sushi, or whatever it is that you like, seafood, create something like that where, I tried every lobster roll in New England, or whatever it might be. It adds a lot of excitement. It sometimes sounds silly, but then when you start to do these things, you're like, why didn't I think of this sooner? Right? And that's such an easy way to be happier in everyday life and feel like you have balance. You're not just working, or, the weekend isn't just doing chores or the same old, same old. So those are just some samples. I also try to spend my money on things I really believe in. If you go under the hashtag bake the change, there's a woman, I'm going to try to pronounce with my Spanish accent, Paula Velez. she started Bakers Against Racism. So she has these pop-up shops all over the world that connects bakers and creatives to fight against racism. And it's like, what is it to go and spend however much, maybe $8 at the most, I believe it costs, on a cupcake or whatever they offer, a pastry. And you're like, I just did something to make change in the world. So there are so many ideas out there that, like I said, it doesn't just have to be like, oh, I want to go to the Bahamas or Hawaii. And, those are great. I love traveling, don't get me wrong, but I like to give people other options and make it fit into your schedule. If you have an hour, maybe you learn how to draw. If you have a weekend, maybe you take a trip, like I said, to one of those restaurants or a comedy club. If you have a list readily available, you already started generating it, then it gets easy to start plugging in the puzzle pieces.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about indeed. And it sounds like you changed this month by month, if I'm not mistaken, don't you?
You know what? I try to do it that way because it's more manageable. I have a family, things come up. So I'm like, what can I do this month? Out of all these ideas, I almost have like a master list. I'm like, okay, who can I see? What comedian is around? What restaurant have I not visited? Is there a town I haven't explored? Is there, you know, some sort of trolley ride or something that is just different that gives you that variety and makes your life fun?
Sweet. That's right indeed. Keeping it fun on the bun indeed. That's right indeed. That's what I'm talking about too. Heck, funny enough, that idea of grabbing some tickets to a comedy show, and even if they're like a row or two apart, it's like, hey, still might be good for couples, especially, if they are together a lot. Maybe it's good for them to be a little separate, and then you can even heckle one another from a. I mean, stop. Maybe that's a bad idea. Yeah, y'all didn't do that, right?
That's an advanced move there.
Okay.
Maybe you sit in the front and you get heckled. How about that? If you sit in the front, you're just setting yourself up.
Yep, that's the trap. Like, never sit in front unless you can take it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. So I guess those are some great ideas indeed. So my goodness. So I'm guessing with all these things you have on this ever growing and ever expanding list, have you discovered new hobbies as a result?
Absolutely. I started drawing. You could even go um, the Michael's craft store. I don't know if they're all over the US, but if you go online, I'm sure people can access it. They have free art classes. I don't even remember how I found it. I was just Googling. You can join in live or you can watch them on YouTube. All you have to do is buy supplies. And I started to learn how to draw. And it's very relaxing. And even though I'm not perfect at it, I think a lot of the things I draw don't look like, you know, when I show people, it's like, this is an orange, but it might look like a loaf of bread. It's, I just do it to learn, to be relaxed, to focus. It's kind of like a mindfulness thing. My daughter's an excellent artist. So I show her my sketchbook and I'm like, listen, you have a gift. I'm struggling here, but I like a challenge too. And I just think it's fun to try different things. And, but also, don't even let me go on about my sporting event ideas. I don't know how much time we have, but it's like the sky's the limit. If you just start brainstorming, that's why I put my book together, because I think people need to get back in touch with what they value. Stop worrying about the negativity in the world unless you really want to actively change things. I think one of the biggest ways is to be a happy person and spread that kindness, be good to people, help them however you can. And, we can't function like that if we're a mess and we're drained and we're not even taking care of ourselves. So I try to encourage people. Like I said, my book is about being happy, being the best version of yourself. And it's like if you're having trouble connecting the dots, I feel like I have action steps that just walk you right through it and help you get back in touch with that beautiful person that you are and tap into those interests that make you, you know, live more fully.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Get to live full belly. That's right. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Live fully indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. So, my goodness, so with all these wonderful ideas and even you putting some of them in this wonderful book of yours to help folks have that everyday bucket list. So, my goodness, is there going to be a sequel or is there like a different route you plan on going with your next book that you plan on launching? Or if there's a next book you plan on launching?
You know what? Right now, the Everyday Bucket List book is it for now, but I want to teach people maybe like the money side. I have I connect the money piece and how to figure out what to do when, and I help people sort some of that out. If you feel like, oh, well, everything is expensive, I deal with parts of that in this book. But who knows? Maybe down the road, I'll go more full steam with whatever challenges people have. I like to offer coaching if they need more help. I have a podcast, the Everyday Bucket List podcast. So if you want ideas or inspiration, you want to hear my corny jokes, um, you know, feel free to tune in. And yeah, we'll see. Now that you said it, Dom, maybe I have to do it.
Well, maybe well, it goes with the territory. It's like you write one book. It's like, hey, how about two?
That's
That's
right.
right. Maybe 20.
Mhm. Oh boy. I'll have to hire Dom. I'll have to hire you to do that.
Oh, you don't want to hire me to write your book. I still got my own books to finish.
I'm sure.
Oh man. So my good. Speaking of unfinished, you seem like you're a elite performer with all the stuff that you've accomplished because you got the teaching background and teachers are freaking awesome. You're a mom and moms are superheroes by default, especially with more than one child and heck even giving all that financial advice that actually led to this bucket list creation thing that you're doing now. So my goodness, what keeps you productive?
What keeps me productive? That is a good question. Probably sleep and good food. I want to say you still have to take care of yourself. You can't just be taking off and going all over and then you're just like a raggedy mess. So that really helps. And really, when you get to relax and do these fun things, you come back rejuvenated. So you're able to think clearly and, you know, you're happier working when you get to have fun.
Ah, sure indeed. Sure indeed. Get to have that fun indeed. That's right, folks. Eat well, sleep well, y'all. That's right, that ES, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So by goodness, you host your own podcast too. That's right indeed. Interviewing other folks who may have some interesting bucket list ideas to share and add to your giant let's go for Jupiter size bucket. So my goodness, my goodness. How does it feel to start a podcast and still keep it going? Like what are the three major lessons you learned from starting and running a podcast of your own?
Woo, you have to really work hard. I'm a self-taught podcaster. And, you know, if you have a mission and a vision that is strong, it'll get you through it. And you just have to push through and devote the hours that you need to really convey your message and, try to be entertaining and have some great guests. And that's the recipe I've been using. And I think it's been working so far. So uh, you have to be yourself too. And that will really help propel you and just keep going too. Anybody who's just keeps going seems to do well if they have decent content. So that's what's been working for me.
Ah, sweet. So there you go, folks. Know your why. Have a good mission, y'all. Have a good mission indeed. And be persistent, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Because it compounds over time. It compounds over time indeed. You'll have the giant penny soon. It'll turn from a small penny to like a giant 20 penny for no reason. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So since you've been on a boatload of podcasts on both sides of the mic, is there a question that you wish you would be asked more often?
Well, I was hoping you would ask the question about what food represents me and my podcast and my book. And if you asked me that, I would say avocado toast because people really like it, even though sometimes they'll complain that it's pricey. It's a nice treat. It could be very fancy, or it's something you can make at home. And I looked up on WebMD that it's good for your vision. And when it comes to a bucket list, you have to have a vision or you're not really going to make anything happen. And it's packed with vitamins. And when it comes to your bucket list, that is nourishment. You're fueling yourself to do these things that you were meant to do. And it also helps your heart. Avocados are good for your heart and doing what you love, right? Tap into your heart and what makes you really happy. So I think avocado toast is perfect because also it boosts your mood. And what I secretly like about it, you feel like you're cheating a little bit because it's a fat, right? And we always hear, oh, you're not supposed to have this fat, that fat. But avocado is a good fat. And we need that. And it boosts your mood in the real world and in the bucket list world.
There you go. That's right indeed. If you're gonna go, you have to have an avocado on your toast, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Especially when the cold weather shows up. If you want to be toasted, have an avocado to go on your toast.
Do you like avocado toast, Dom?
Nah, not really. I've had it. It was alright. I still prefer the classic jelly on toast.
Gotcha. I've had some fancy avocado toast, and I'm surprised at what people can do with it. But I make mine at home right now, and I love it.
There you go. That's right. Saving that money, making them improvements to the big boy stuff. That's right indeed. Karen's like she's got this. She's the special K, y'all. She's got the special stuff. That's right indeed. That homemade goodness. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. It's like a sacred sanctum. That's right indeed. Where it tastes twice as good. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Well, usually I ask the food question, but since you already brought that one up, got to bring up the wonderful entrepreneurial question. Been loving to pop on folks recently. So, with all this wonderful creativity and content out here, you always have setbacks along the way. So, what would you consider your greatest setback that actually became your greatest setup for success?
My greatest setback was probably leaving my career. It was very hard to do that. Like I said, I was a teacher, and to snap off of the traditional setting was a big mindset shift. But it's like jumping without a net. And luckily, I landed in a great place. And I love my life because I have flexibility. I love what I do. And I'm able to do things that I like on my time. And I'm very fortunate. I'm very grateful because I know a lot of people are not able to do that. But if you can somehow find ways to infuse whatever it is you want into your life, go for it.
Yeah, that's right. Go for it indeed, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right. You won't even need Connect 4, y'all. Just go for it. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Although you may want to put on a gopher hat. Who knows? Either way, you gotta go.
You are funny. I have a groundhog under my deck, but I don't know about a gopher.
There we go. That's right indeed. It's groundhog every day there. That's right indeed. Will we get winter for an extra 6 weeks? We never know. It's every day.
You can't say that out loud. No.
Exactly. That's right indeed. If it snows on the East Coast in June one year, it's over. I'm a prophet. That's right. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Let's hope that doesn't happen though. That'll really throw people way off. They'll be like, "Oh man, I thought it was June, not December." But my goodness indeed, my goodness indeed. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're at 25 again, but you're still in the year of 2022, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would just say to not doubt yourself and to really do whatever it is in your heart, even if you're that young person and it changes down the road. Just go after your passions, no matter what other people say. And that's truly where you could be happy when you use your talents and gifts and whatever it is that you think you're supposed to do. Or, like I said, if you want to travel the world at that time, just have the confidence to go after it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Go after it, y'all. That's right indeed. Go after it. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. It's like Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, y'all. That's right. Gotta go after it. That's right indeed. Except you'll be more successful than Elmer Fudd, though. That's right. There's a huge difference. That's right, indeed. So for folks who want a higher success rate than Elmer Fudd and keep up with all that you're doing to be uh finisher in terms of starting their everyday bucket list and knocking items off and hitting all the home runs on their list, what's the best way for folks to do so, Karen?
Okay, you can listen to the Everyday Bucket List podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can go to my website, KarenCordaway.com, and it's C as in cat, ORD as in dog, AWAY. And that's where I house everything. Like I said, if you need help connecting the dots, you can check out my book, or you can work with me and I'll help you out.
Woohoo! There you go. Coach K's got your cover like a blanket, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. She's got your cover like a baseball mitt, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. She'll catch your doubts and then throw them out into the random neighborhood, y'all. That's right. She'll help you get that magical home run indeed. And then you'll be like, hooray, I am now with the homies. That's right. That's right indeed. Everyday bucket list. That's right indeed. Getting more buckets than fishermen. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, any parting words before we close up shop, Karen?
I just want to thank you and thank everyone for listening. And like I said, enjoy your life and go after your dreams.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast, Going North. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too.